Oh, hey guys. GBase Felix here. We're back at it with another stream. Been a while. Received the 13th. Received the 13th. You guys didn't know about 12, but I received the 13th literary agent rejection letter a couple of days ago. So that's that. And I went to the beach yesterday. Everybody was socially distanced, spread out. You know, people were just not socially distanced within their families, but as far as other people went, they were good. In the water as well, for the most part. Yeah, played some beach volleyball with each other, some badminton, got in the water. Pretty good time. What have I been up to? Well, let's do our plugs and we'll get into that. First book, Descender Awakening. I don't know why this went down to 3 rating. This should be 4. But it's available on Kindle, my first written book. Paid back $20. Kindle Unlimited, free $99, minus $99. Kindle Digital, $10. If you want to read the first 5 chapters, it's available for free on Wattpad.com and Scribblehub.com. For some reason, I just posted one of the short stories on Scribblehub. Made it a new series because I'll get to what the series is in a minute. Not a series, but a series of short stories that still takes place within Descender. The Adventures of Malos, the evil alien half-dragon, half-god super guy. I posted the origin on Scribblehub. His origin was already on Wattpad, I think. Yeah, Inherent Violence here. For some reason, it's not showing up in my series tab. So I don't know if it's actually reaching anybody, if I can't reach it myself. I have it on my dashboard here, but I don't know what's going on. So that'll be available. So my plan for this short story series is to write some more short stories. There's like a 3-year gap between him leaving his home planet where his people died and him coming back to be sent to Earth. Coming back to his galaxy to be sent to Earth. He's like, yeah, there's a 3-year training period where he's with an alien by the name of Oro. And Oro is training him how to fight, essentially, but yeah, that's going to be his series. I received a very kind comment, and I'm going to shout them out in a second. Very kind comment in the Abandoned Angels series on the latest chapter, Freedom. So shouts out to WolfGamer372. Thank you for the amazing chapter. It's little stuff like that that helps keeps me going, keep me going. It's just something as simple as that pushed my drive to continue. Well, I was going to continue it anyway, but my focus on continuing this short story series, because apparently people are enjoying it. I mean, it has 10 readers and 1,000 views, so that's, in my eyes, as opposed to having something without any views, that's pretty damn good. Welcome to Stream Moms and Mr. Sean. Did I swim? No, I didn't swim. I didn't get the water past like my belly button because it was too cold. So yeah. Plus the water, I don't really like swimming in the ocean because the water is the same color as number 1 and number 2 bowel movements. And I'm pretty sure people do both in the ocean, the Atlantic Ocean at least. It's very gross. And fish do that there as well. I didn't see any fish because I don't know why any fish would want to be in yellow and brown ocean. But short answer, no, I did not swim. I kind of just stood and walked shivering the entire time. It was a hot day, a warm day, but the water was not. No, he just jumped up and down in the shallow water. Well, how did you know? Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I didn't jump, but I walked and shivered. So, yeah. I don't really like the ocean. Beach is fine. I mean, I didn't really, besides like the activities, I didn't really do anything that I couldn't do at home. But I appreciated my dad for taking me because it had been a while since the last time he took my brother and I to the beach. So it was really cool for him to do that. I appreciate him for doing that. Yeah, nothing really crazy happened. I didn't eat anything. I just drank water pretty much the whole time. I know they walked the beach at some point. Yeah, besides the volleyball, played volleyball first with my brother, then played with my dad later. Played volleyball with my dad later, and then badminton. And then we sat for a little while longer, and then just went home. Like, I don't see the whole point of going somewhere else, like to the beach on sand, where it's coarse and rough, it gets everywhere, to sit and think when you can do that pretty much anywhere. Stare at the ocean, but the aesthetic of the ocean and listening to the waves to think or fall asleep, and it's like, I don't want to be alone with my mind for that long, so I'm good. I tried to keep my focus on just coming up with story stuff, and I did write a little bit, or started planning for a new character. But other than that, I was kind of just staring off into the distance with a blank mind, which wasn't the greatest. We were there for 6 hours, the longest I've ever been at the beach, or stayed at the beach. And no, resort beaches don't count when I went to Jamaica. Because you're there the whole time. So. Yeah, for some reason Malice's story isn't showing up. Whatever. If you want to support here, subscribe on Twitch, subscribe on YouTube. Subscribing on YouTube is free, so do that. And, excuse me, I wonder if it still works. Nightbot has the PayPal link if you want to support your boy. Cash App is there. Oh no, that's not it. Wait. That's the Cash App. And then if you want to subscribe or support on Patreon, that's available as well. I still haven't posted many things on YouTube. I promise I'm going to get back into that, but you know, this downtime has been down for a while. So as soon as I'm feeling better, that'll change the content on YouTube. I still have some skits in the work. I'm still thinking about ideas, but I haven't been writing a whole lot. Which is why I was a little disappointed. Streaming keeps me writing every day, pretty much. So, speaking of writing, let's get into some stuff. I didn't do a whole lot of writing during my hiatus. But, good news, one of my good friends, son, he gave me notes for my first book. Hey, somebody that actually finished the first book. That's crazy. I know. But he gave me a whole bunch of constructive stuff, pointed out typos, a whole bunch of stuff and gave me, what was important was for me was that he also gave me compliments, a lot of compliments, like this was funny, I enjoyed this, you're really good at doing this. It really helps. So yeah, shouts out to a song. I know Chase, another one of my friends, is close to finishing it as well. At least like, maybe close to halfway through. But he's reading it. Like I said, I don't get the point of buying something and then not using it. So if you're gonna buy the book, promise me you'll read it. Like, not that you're gonna shelve it, because I know most of the people that bought it shelved it. So it kind of sucks. But yeah. So what else? Yeah, it's good to give me feedback. I started to write Sidewine's story, only a page in, but his short story in the Resistance Renaissance short story series thing. What else? What is this? You see, I started working on the beats here. I don't have an ending for it, so I haven't actually continued it, but I have most of the beats planned out for his short story. If my screen doesn't want to freeze. So I think I got sunburned. There's patches of my skin that are hot to the touch. Didn't put any sunscreen on. That was my fault. That open. I can't really change much about what he was saying in the first book, but I will definitely take stuff into consideration for the second. New document, okay. So, sweating like crazy. There's anti stuff here. I'm gonna have a female heavenborn at some point. But what I really want to do now, she was the one I was planning out. I have a bunch of stuff in my head for her, but I haven't written anything out. I think what I want to do now is... So Frostfire, I changed it a little bit. Fire that feels cold to the touch, but still burns. It also freezes its target in place while burning. So it has the effects of both ice and fire, which is cool. What I want to do now is focus on Malice's next short story. I didn't plan on there being more short stories for him during that 3-year period, but I had a dream last night about a guy. I was like kind of like the cameraman. It was about a guy that had very similar powers to Homelander from the TV show The Boys. It's coming back for season 2 in a month. But he had Homelander's powers, and he was essentially massacring a bunch of people. I was like, hey, I got a guy that does that, but he's stronger. So let's focus on him for a little bit. So let's copy this beat sheet. Plan out his next story. It's gonna be with Oro Forest Stories. Shredded tier 1, been subscribed 4 months, currently on 3 months. Appreciate the subscription months. Subscriptions are always appreciated. Thank you. Thanks. Appreciate it. The thing about my beat sheets is they never have to be complete. Most of them aren't. So I think what I want to do is refer to Malos's. Oh, I don't even have the title for this. I don't even know what he's supposed to do in this one. Bye. Supposed to look at alien races to see. You might have to wipe out an alien race or 5 in a short story series. He's really overpowered. Like, top 3 overpowered characters across all my characters, including God. God is number 1, obviously, or the creator, but like he's still top 3. To put that into perspective, I have over 300 characters, so yeah. Okay, we're gonna look at the alien races document. Because I don't even have a title for this. Okay, some of these races are completely already wiped off the face of the universe. Some of them I don't want to die off. Let's go to the scene where he leaves first. Okay, he stayed on the Gonda a few years, learning about morality and information on other alien races. So he's not really killing anybody there. There's not going to be much conflict, so I'm not going to focus on that. What I am going to focus on is he's traveling with Oro. trying to think of this first planet you should visit. Give me a second. Maybe the Liliga. They're like the most basic aliens of all the aliens I have, as far as like usefulness goes. What are they like? They're like squid face, dude. Think of like Davy Jones from Pirates of the Caribbean. Tentacle face. They don't have mouths. It's like, if they do have a mouth, it's under their tentacles. So like from here down, it's like tentacles waving around their face. Like squid-faced alien race. Yeah, they're gross. I think him visiting the Liligo would be the most basic, easiest one to start off with. And then we'll start going to others, and then I have to create some others just so they can die off. Because I want to show how strong through these stories as well, because I'm getting sick of waiting to, and I could always write them out, but there's really no point to me writing them out if the other books aren't out yet. Sick of waiting to get to like the 10th or 11th book in the series to unlock Malos as a playable character. Or a character I can use for the series. He's supposed to be the most prominent villain once he becomes a thing in the series, but that is 2-3 books away from where I am right now. And I really don't want to wait to use him. I really want to figure out his personality. I want to have some fun with writing stories for him. And I really don't want to wait till his freaking debut in book 10 or 11 of the Descended series, when the first book still isn't doing how well I want it to do yet. Let's start with the Liliga. We're gonna have him visit the dead planets of the Varanians, and the Magmorans, both of which were killed by a single alien, or a single one of their kind. Well, actually, no. The Iranians were killed by domination. And Magmorans were killed by their own Magmoran terrorist, who is in the first book, by the way. They both are. All three of them are. But you wouldn't know if you didn't read the first book. Buy the book. So he's gonna see like Renan or Vera was like crushed. So you might see like a little rock version of it. But the Magmavorans were wiped out, but the planet was kept the same. So, I'm gonna visit that. Now it's coming out earlier. No, No, I'm just writing short stories from his past to figure out more of the type of character he is. Because I don't want to wait, like I said, I don't want to wait to write 2-3 books in order to get to him. He's one of my most hyped characters. I'm really excited to get to him, so I might as well find a way to write about him rather than, wait to finish the other books and rush through those in order to get to introducing him. I don't have any Lily-Goes that are characters, so there's not like a character I can plug in here that like shows the continuity. Yeah, all the Lily-Goes are kind of just faceless, even though they all have distinct faces. Faceless, and like there's no character I made that is of Lily-Go origin. But I don't think that's not going to be the point of this story. It's not going to be about the Lily-Go if I were to ever make one as the main character. It's about Melos and his interactions with all the alien races. Or a lot of alien races. Excuse me. So I don't really have any possible characters to add. The Iranians, that's going to be a dead planet, and Oral's kind of just going to be telling about what happened here. The same for the Magmahorans. So I don't really have any possible characters to add either. There's only going to be 3 places, which are Vera, the planet, Magmahor, the planet, and then the Lily-Go planet. And none of which have distinct characters that are a part of any of them, because these 2 are dead. Like I said before, I don't have any Lily-Go was born a Lily-Go. I also don't have any characters, I think, around this time that would be visiting this planet. If there were any, it would either be Monolon or Detrius. Detrius, the Dragon of War. Well, you heard about him, he's actually in Melos' origin. Monolon the Conqueror, but he hasn't conquered the Lily-Gos. There'd probably be a reason for that. Monolon's also older, so he probably would have already conquered them by now. Actually, that might be something to work on with this. He might have conquered them. Like, they're not a strong race together. They're kind of like the Zaterrans or Saurian race from Mortal Kombat. They kind of always serve somebody else. There's a lot of infighting and stuff like that. Like, they're not a strong people together. And they're not very prideful. So maybe that's a thing to add. Yeah, he's a doozy. You remember his origin? Because that's the only time I've ever written about him. Yeah, Melos. Okay. Yeah, I mean, he didn't really say or do anything too crazy in his origin besides release the dude that murdered his race. But that could be argued that wasn't intentional. As a matter of fact, it's kind of written from the perspective that it wasn't intentional. Like, there was no way of him knowing that releasing the prisoner would kill his father and everybody else on the planet. So. And then he said, besides that, he said maybe one line when the dragons came after him. So his personality hasn't been fleshed out by me entirely. As far as dialogue goes, like, I know what I want him to be like, but I haven't written any of that, if that makes sense. Who's dead? Yo, what up, young Nacho? All of them people on which planet? There's like 700 planets. How's it going, Nacho? We're just planning for some more short stories, bro. Also, announcement, there's like a children's book on the way. It's gonna be like 5 pages, but if you have like, if you know any child from kindergarten to 4th grade, probably earlier than 4th grade, but why not 4th grade? It's gonna be like a little 5-page children's picture book, all colored, all in color, and it'll be like covering a short time of events of the first Descended book. Not everything in the first Descended book, and Lux is the center of it more than he is in the actual book, but it's more about, also it's very kid friendly looking, and it's more about good and evil and all that. This is what it looks like. Oh wait, I know he gave me a new one. Oh no, he didn't. I thought he changed the thing to blue. Did he? Did I not save it? Maybe he did and I didn't save it. Hang on. I changed it. I didn't save it. I thought I saved it. This is what the cover is gonna look like. Just imagine text on there. Like it's in that style. This style, it's not really a style. I guess chibi version of all the characters. But yeah, children's version of the Descended series is coming soon. So if you want to entertain some kids for a little while during quarantine, well, I guess quarantine's technically over, but during what's going on now, be a good book to buy. Just like the original Descended. If you like what you see in the children's version of it, you'll definitely like what you read in the actual version, which has more action and more everything because it's more than 5 pages. But that should be coming sometime in September. We're shooting for the beginning of September for everything to be done. Just 20 days, a little over 20 days away. Oh yeah, that's cool. Appreciate it. It's a children's version of Descended. Yeah. So cool. Yeah. Or there's going to be in less than a month. Let's hope less than a month. But it was my dad's idea. Shout outs to him. He kept, for some reason, something was nagging at him, telling him there needs to be a children's version of this, and through this there's going to be He's like, this is my first step into that world. I was hoping the actual book would be the first step, but maybe the children's version will do better, and then through that, the original book will do better. So we'll see what happens. But that's a couple days away. My artist, I'm gonna reach out to him today and see what's up. But I'm really just waiting on him. Other than that, I just need to like change the font because I already have the text written out. 5 pages. It didn't take me long, but I need to like change the font and make it look fun and colorful. And then just have his stuff, his art on the other pages, and have the cover. And other than that, like it doesn't sound like a whole lot of work because it's really honestly not a whole lot of work. For a story that was already written, that's why it's not a whole lot of work for me. I was kind of it's like the abridged version of some of the events from Descendant, and mainly Lux's events from Descendant, because there's so many other characters besides Lux that you read about in that story. But yeah, look forward to that sometime next month, and they'll definitely be streaming or telling everybody about that once that's out. So yeah. I think I've announced it before, but I don't know if I have a picture ready. I'm not sure. But now, Mallows. Gruesome, violent death stuff. Let's get back here. You write great children's stories. I don't think I've ever written a children's story before. Oh wait, yes I did. I've written like 2 during my internship at Micro Society, which was the co-op I had during college. It had me write 2 short stories. So thanks. Plethora be in it? No. In it? No. It's pretty much just Lux and then Ake. Like, Ake and Lux are the central focus of this first one. Like, the first page is going to mention Noble, but, like, past that, it's just Lux and Ake, pretty much. Because he's arguably just as big of a rival as Lux as Ignitro, but Ignitro wasn't the central focus for this one. Because he and Lux they fight, like, once in the first book. I'm not going to say spoilers. I'm not going to say spoilers anymore because the book has been out for 4 months. But, yeah, he and Lux like fight once. I think Ake and Lux fight twice. First time it's like one-sided with Lux winning, and the second time in the subway it's back and forth. But you're not gonna have the subway scene in a children's book, if you know what I'm talking about. If you don't, then read the book. No, Plethora won't be in it. This whole series is probably gonna focus more on Lux than anybody. So, maybe in the series at some point she might, but, like, that's not my focus, to bring all the other characters into it. My focus is to keep it focused. My focus is to keep it focused on Lux and probably a villain at all times. Maybe at some point it might be, like, poetic where there's no actual villain for him to fight, which is what the Nightmare book was supposed to be, but I ended up giving it a villain at the end anyway. And that villain tore some things up. Nightmare was the 7th book, by the way, that hasn't been released. But, yeah. So let's continue here. Destroy, battered, almost non-existent planet of Vera, where the Century Design nomination wiped out all except one. Mallows. And I'll improvise the dialogue here, or talk about it. Then move on to the next Magmavore, where Mallows especially because he wasn't the trigger. Well, he was the trigger, he wasn't the bullet or gun. This is a bad analogy. Especially because he wasn't the direct killer. He did initiate it though, by releasing Omnicide. They settled down for a while on the next planet. Though it wasn't the closest planet, it was just like, hey, we passed a few planets, what about this one? So, at the time, I don't know what they should do here. Like, I feel like the Liliga are like dirty people that kind of do stupid things. So Malos might get into an underground fighting ring here. I like underground fighting rings for some reason in fiction, especially with superpowers. So yeah, that's probably where this is gonna go. I mean, with Oro teaching Malos about hand-to-hand fighting and martial arts in general, and learning about different styles and everything, it's important to learn all the styles. So actually, that should be another point of interest that they talk about it and their fighting style. Also, so that's the thing about Malos, is another interesting aspect of him. Even though he's the third, he might even be the second over Decimus, who is the devil of the Virtuous universe. Even though he's the third most powerful being in my universe, he still has knowledge of all sorts of crazy fighting styles across galaxies. So even if you were to somehow master him in strength, speed, durability, and stamina, and whatever the hell else, he still has all sorts of fighting styles under his belt. But he doesn't ever normally need to resort to them. And it's never like he's out of practice. Like, he constantly stays up on his, what are they called? Forms. And, yeah, there's a word for it I'm not thinking of. It's like, yeah, I forget. Yeah, that's another crazy aspect about him. Like, he doesn't need to be as in tune with fighting and martial arts as he is. For some reason, he is, because of Aura. So, got it. I'm patient. Yeah. It might take a while. It also might never happen. I'm not sure how the stories are gonna go. And Plethora isn't even in the first book, so it might be a while. She becomes more prominent down the line the more heroes that die, because there are less to focus on, or less to keep my attention on, or the reader's attention on, as the series moves on, with all of, like I said, all these heroes dying and all these alien threats coming in, which is another reason to read the series, because your favorite character might not make it, so that's fun. She becomes more prominent and is like dealing with like Asai and stuff more now, especially in the current times. Now and Beyond, they're not even mentioned, but I think I told you guys I was supposed to write Oh, well, this is 15 days ago I last streamed, but I was supposed to run I was just gonna do a short story about a character that dies that comes back, not the exact same, because I don't want it to be a trend where it's like, oh, this is just like comic books where character deaths don't really matter. No. The character I don't think deserved to die. A lot of them didn't deserve to die, but one specifically I don't think deserved to die, and the reason I killed him off was good for the story at the time, but also not good because I was like, I feel mature doing this, but I don't know if this is the right decision here at least. And the way they died was pretty effed up. So I brought them back, and they're gonna be like kind of like a central focus for the 10th book in the series, which is Resurrection, Descended Resurrection, and that's gonna run alongside Beyond, which is Resurrection is the 9th book, and it's gonna run alongside Beyond, which is the 8th book. So while Beyond is taking place in space, I was supposed to be doing a bunch of short stories like the Resistance Renaissance short stories that you guys have seen me write on stream, and anti-short stories. Those were supposed to take place during Beyond. Anti-short stories couldn't because he was also in space at the time. So his short stories take place after they get back to Earth. But the Resistance Renaissance stories take place while some of the characters are in space, or main characters are in space. So, yeah, I couldn't help but turn this person's resurrection into an entire book. So that's gonna be that. Move the other books up. That's why I keep saying 2 to 3 because I'm not entirely sure. Move the other books up by a number, because I added another book in between there. I'm not gonna mention the person's name. You might have seen their name before because I struggled not to put the spoilers in on the screen, but you might have seen them. Don't pay too close attention to what you're seeing on the screen. But yeah, your favorite character might not survive. It's very likely they don't, unless, well, no, it's very likely they don't. There's only like 2, 3, maybe 3 people that have plot armor in general for the Descended story. The rest do not. Anybody could die at any moment if I feel like it. It's like the Game of Thrones of, well, not books, but Game of Thrones of superheroes stories. Kind of like Injustice, but these characters have had less time to be in your heart and settle in your heart, so I'm trying to ramp that up and then rip it away from you as fast as possible because I am evil. So settle down for a while on the next planet, but wasn't close to spending the time. Here they Oro signs Malos up for underground fighting ring where Malos can study their fighting styles. Up close. Very close. I don't really have any plans past this point. Like, he's pretty much gonna win. Let's start there. Malos wins every single one of his matches, and as Oro and Malos try to leave for the night, a group of Lilios tries to kill them because of the bets they placed on the fighters that weren't Malos. It is here I don't think it's gonna be in this story. Oh wow, dope. Yeah. I got a dip, but I'll leave you lurk. Appreciate you, Young Nacho. Appreciate the lurks. Lurks are always appreciated. Thank you, my guy. It is here that Malos witnesses Oro's, what's it called? It's like a kill something. Murderous intent, maybe? Murderous instinct? But he is not horrified by it. Instead, he is intrigued. Story. Oh, this is gonna be a really short story. Well, I don't go into detail about the fighting matches, but the story ends with them flying off planet and discussing taking a life. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. Normally my beats for short stories are around 10 beats long, but I think keeping it short here will work. It's like a little bit of a test, if you will. So actually we could start writing, but we have 7 minutes, so we'll figure something else out instead. We will start the document, like plan everything out, edit the fonts and whatnot. But I also want to go back to, it's probably what I'm going to do in the last 6 minutes. I want to go back to the anti-stuff because apparently people are liking that. So, yeah, supply and demand. So Malice's thing is planned out, so I can write that whenever. Those people aren't foaming at the mouth for that just yet. Plus, I still don't think the story is up for some reason. Let me know if you guys can't find the story either under my profile on Scribblehub. I like Scribblehub more because you can see the views and the amount of readers you have. Refresh series and oh! It's up! It's up, y'all. Go ahead and read that. I think they have to approve it. Maybe that's what took so long. Is a beat sheet like an outline? Yes, it is. That's exactly what it is, pretty much. Excuse me. So yeah, The Abandoned Angel, 1K views, 10 readers. Yay. Yay. So the next one will be Growth. That's going to be the next one. And we'll be playing that on stream. I'll be streaming again, like, back to back for a little while for right now. Especially if things keep up well. Like, the good that comes from streaming keeps me going. So that's up. Go ahead and give that a read if you want on Scribblehub. It's the same as Inherent Violence. That's the only one that's up so far on Wattpad, and it's this one, the one that has 4 watchers or readers or whatever you want to call them, because there's a half-naked alien dragon lady god on the front, and people are horny. So that's probably why that has my most viewed out of all of my short stories. But because this story is about Malos, or these short stories will be about Malos, it makes no sense for Althena to be on the front. So the boy himself is up there. So if you want to read his origin story, I'd recommend reading on Scribblehub. I'm not sponsored or anything, but the site is just so much better than the other 2 I've used. Royal Road was the other one. That was trash. Screw Royal Road. Wattpad, I don't really enjoy it. Scribble Hub. Give that Scribble Hub a click. Renaissance Resistance, all the short stories I've written up to Dex. I finished Dex as well. I think I read Dex's. Yeah, I did read Dex's. That was the last stream I had. That's up on Scribble Hub as well. 91 views. No readers, but I don't really mind it because it doesn't even have a cover. I couldn't find a cover that fit. Like, all of the images for some reason were too big. I never understood how that was possible, but this is the same image pretty much as Arid's, but his fit fine and Arid's didn't. So plus the name. That name might be off-putting, Renaissance. Like, you're thinking Leonardo da Vinci and all that, but if you read the description, it has nothing to do with old white men. So what was I saying? Oh, I was gonna start the document. Okay, we'll start the document, and then I'll show you guys what I was planning to do with Anti's third short story, not including his origin, his third short story. But what I'm gonna change it to? Well, what I'm gonna change it to, I'll explain next time because it seems almost over. But I'll show you what I have already in place, and it's pretty much all gotta change. Yeah, Scribble Hub. Yeah, Scribble Hub is good. I like Scribble Hub stuff. I don't normally read any other stories on there. I'm just posting just to see if my stuff can get traffic. Which on here, it's the best traffic that it gets out of all the sites I've used so far. So, shout out to Scribble Hub. Hey, if y'all want to sponsor me, I ain't opposed to it. I don't even know if they do sponsorships. It'd be cool. Oh, I don't even have a name for this. I'm not gonna name it intro or origin. No, origin. He already has an origin thing here on the left. This is about fighting. Maybe I should name it Murder's Instinct. I kind of like that. Like, his stories are supposed to be on the darker side, but both of their personalities, because Malice's personality changes from grim and brooding from his origin to more closer to Oro's, because as he's growing up, he's like 12 at the beginning of his origin. As he's growing up through the 3-year gap and all that, he becomes older and older, and by the time he returns, I'd say he's around 18 in Earth years. Maybe 20. I don't know. I don't care. The subject that they're talking about is dark, but both of their personalities, like I was trying to just say, Malice's personality comes closer to Oro's, and Oro's is a much more upbeat personality. Think of like Ice Cap from the first Ascended book. Upbeat, even though it's like dark comedy type stuff. Like, oh, yo, kill that guy, make sure he doesn't like come after us or anything. Something like that. It's not funny. Or the way I just portrayed it wasn't funny. But yeah, it's kinda like that. You'll see more of it in the dialogue when I write it on stream. You'll see what I mean. But their personalities are a good contrast to the subject, and I think that like gives a little bit more life to the story as opposed to them being like brooding, like yo, make sure that guy doesn't follow us. We might try to like, come after us because of what we did to my family. Um, so, so we're gonna title this Mallows Murderous Intent. And we're gonna change this to Times New Roman. Hey, Times New Roman, the font. If you wanna sponsor me, I wouldn't be mad at you. Come talk to your boy. Make it like essays. You feel me? So, oh my god, I think I should just make another folder for Mallows. Because he's going to have a couple short stories, so I don't want them to get caught up in Stride and Omnicide stuff, so let's make it a folder. Okay, so that's that. We'll leave that open for myself later. And we'll check out anti stuff. Do I have, what's this? This is the short story list, right? Yeah, this is what I need. Ice Cat. Yes. I didn't have many beats planned out or anything planned out. This isn't actually the beat sheet. This is just the list of short stories that Anti has, or I have planned for Anti. You can see the first three have already been finished. The Origin, Captivity, which is the first short story that wasn't in Origin, and Freedom. And then Growth, the third one I'm working on. The next one I will be focusing on because of that kind of comment. Shoutouts to Wolfgamer372. I think that was the number. This is where he obtains Frostfire. I was originally supposed to change this element to lightning, but then I came up with this concept for fire that also has the properties of ice. So whatever he shoots the fire at and it hits, like say it hits my hand will be unable to move, and it's also burning to a crisp at the same time. So if he hits my hand, I won't be able to move my fingers or any elements of my hand, and it's falling apart from the flames at the same time, which I think is really creative and innovative and something I've never heard of before. So kudos to me. Anti receives Eternal Sleep, Grimm's second favorite scythe. After merely having a conversation with the Angel of Death, yes, he receives another weapon here. I'm going to also edit the hallowed hooks. Not like what they do, but I want to, like, I don't know what they look like yet. I just imagine like short hooks, like you got the handle here and then the curve like that. But I might want to change it just a little bit. I'm not sure. I'm gonna have to sketch up some stuff. Anti spends time with Barakiel, which is the Archangel of Lightning. It's literally his title. And is taught lightning abilities, as well as talking about his lightning element. This becomes his Anti's main element, which is not the case now. Fire was part of his past, and represented his rage. The lightning represents his new direction. which also isn't the case now because it's not going to be using lightning. I like keeping it to fire because fire is my favorite element. And I have a lot of characters that have a fire element to them. Like I could create fire from my palms, that type of thing. But nobody can do what Amti does with this Frostfire. Like nobody else has a Frostfire across the whole anything. And then he's gonna fight a trio of Hellspawns, which are equivalent to some other characters across fiction, but you will see next time who I am referring to. But other than that, thank you guys so much for watching. Shout outs to Moms, Mr. Shaw, and Magadio Nacho in the chat. Plugs. Malice is up on Scribble Hub now. Read that. Resistance Renaissance, all their short stories that I have so far, not including Sidewind Desolates, are up there now. Senator Wagon, first 5 chapters free. Man and Angel, 1K views. It has a lot of views, or in my eyes, a lot of views. For a reason, 10 readers. Go ahead and cop yourself one of those. I've done live readings on my channel before. Probably not in the video on demand section anymore. That was like more than 2 weeks ago. But that's available on my YouTube channel. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe. Because that's free. And free things are good for the soul. If you want to support, we got all sorts of links. PayPal and Cash App. No, that's at donate. Wrong. PayPal, Cash App. And Patreon. Like I said, I'll be uploading a lot more YouTube soon. Very soon. Just in a mental rut right now. Just a rut. 3 R's. But more coming soon. If you want to read them on Wattpad, I don't know why you would, but for whatever reason, if you want to read these short stories and stuff on Wattpad, it's available there. And buy the first book. Children's book coming soon. Children's book is going to be, like I said, an abridged version of some of the events from this book. Like, it's going to be literally like one event per page, but only 5 pages, and more focused on Lux. You see other characters on the cover for a good reason, because Lux is not he's the biggest character, he's the main character, but there are other characters in the book. Paperback, you get this thickness for only $20. You know how much content this is? And you get pictures of, if you get lost, say you're like, who the hell is this Seismic character that I keep reading about? What does he look like? What's his eye color? You get that in the back of the book too. What's that? Who's that? That's Seismic. You can't see that clearly. Yeah, you can now. A little bit. That's there. Buy the book. Kindle Unlimited, $3.99. Kindle Digital, $10. Make sure you give it a rating and review, and I shout you out like these other people down here. That's what I forgot to do earlier. Shout you out like other people down here. Rating and reviews help more than you know. Like, if you knew, you still wouldn't be close to touching how much the ratings and reviews help. So that's gonna be it from your boy today, guys. Probably be back tomorrow. So back tomorrow. Thank you guys so much for watching, and this is David Phoenix. Once again, wait. Yeah. Once again, signing off.